Yeah, I'm down here today checking out the condition of my stream bed. I got Jake along. But I was going to do some logging. And I like to be able to run them out on the stream bed. This is the only time of year I can actually get down in here. During the summer, it's so soft, you can't get anywhere near here, so you end up having to cable them out. But I think I've got a good chance of being able to get here and get them out. The only thing I noticed right further down here, there's kind of a blockage, and it's got about almost a 2-foot drop. So I think down here I'm going to have to go take out a couple of little trees that I can snake around that way and get them out, and then get back on the stream bottom. Because this is a nice place to pull them. This is a nice chunk of ash. I'm hoping this is one that just fell down, but I'm hoping I can salvage a good piece of this. It's good ash. I can burn it, but I'm hoping I can do something else with it. But there's a lot of basswood back in here I want to get out that I can make good lumber out of. And a lot of these trees are kind of to the end of their natural lives. That's why a lot of them like this are just falling down. I mean, they've been here too long. So it's time to take them out. But I noticed, it's kind of funny. This is an amazingly open winter this year. We've had some cold days, but we've had some really nice days. Like today, it's up in 20 about. I'm hoping, these next days will be a little bit colder, so I'll maybe have a little better surface because it's kind of sloppy on top here. But I can get them out. I just don't want to get soaking wet doing it. But I have to do it now before it starts getting too soft, or I'll break the tractor through along the edges where you have to watch it, because there's springs under here all the time. You get in there, I can bury it, which would be a real bugger. And I've managed to never do that, so I can pretty well judge. But it's been cold enough that it's froze pretty solid, except for, like I say, right where the springs come in. Oh, I'm drinking. But like I say, it's been a really open winter. Normally I'm plowing snow in winter, and I haven't had to plow snow at all winter. And if we get another month in, I'll have gotten through the whole winter without it. But people always, they talk about climate change and global warming and, on and on it goes. And it isn't really that, it's just, because this is the most open I've seen it. But things just go in cycles like that. You'll have some cold years with a lot of snow, and then you'll have some really warm years. A warm year like this, I've never seen, or at least an open year like this, because like I said, we've had cold, but it hasn't really bothered us. But no snow, so these sled dogs are getting pretty plump and lounging around. Yeah, we're going to have to get to work on you someday. Odds are, I mean, like I say, we still got a month to go, and we can get some heavy snows even in March, and even in April sometimes. So I'm not too confident, but it would be nice to have an open winter. But like I say, this is the time I got to get logs out of here. But like as I say, it cycles. Temperatures always have. It's always funny when you look at, people trying to promote the idea of climate change or global warming. They'll always show you on charts. When you look at your chart, you think, oh yeah, well, that sure, it shows it right there. But they're only looking at a short period of time. They do that even with the economy. Like things cycle up and down and up and down. They like to take one little portion of that chart, one little area that'll show either down or up or whichever way they want to portray it, and they'll magnify that and blow it up and say, oh, look at that. But in the long term, things just average out. Things are different in a long-term perspective. Because even these trees, like I say, people that are anti-lumbering trees aren't a permanent thing. There's certain types of trees that grow a real long time. But normal trees, they have a lifespan to them. And what I like to do is to try to thin out these big ones and don't let them get to the point where they fall down like this. And I'm sure a big portion of this will probably be waste. But if you can get them before that, and then let room for these little trees to grow. Because that's the only thing, there's a lot of, like this is an ash, now that's an elm, but they're right back there, there's a whole bunch of little ash. They can't grow because they don't get the light. Now if I take the big trees out of there, they'll have some light and they'll grow. I know one relative up here, that he had come up here once, he hadn't been here for years. And the first thing he said, where in the world did all these trees come from? Because he remembered coming up as a kid, and he said you could see right over these trees. They were all short, but all of a sudden now here's these big 50-foot trees. But it's just trees grow. I know I was right into that where I've got a couple of vehicles in the yard there that I haven't driven for like 10 years, but I drove them over and parked them in a spot, and now I come back and there'll be like a 6-inch tree growing between the vehicle and the bumper. In order to move the vehicle, I'm gonna have to cut that tree out of there. And I drove it in there. I'm sure I could drive it out again, but I got to get the tree out of there first. But that happens a lot of times. It'll be a little tree when you park there and you don't think nothing of it. But once a tree gets started, get them a couple of feet tall, they'll grow pretty fast. I know I've got pine trees in the yard that I planted. I brought them home in Dixie cups. They were little scrubby pine trees, and now they're 30 feet tall. Things happen fast. It's just a matter of time. It's a long-term perspective on things. But I better plan my route out here a little. But this is nice when I can do this, because going that way now I got it clear except for this one little bottleneck up here. But I think I can work my way around that. But then going back that way further, I can go a long ways. Though I got a few more of these laying across the road that I got to get out of there. But nothing too serious. But I think this is the year I get them out, where I've got no snow. It makes it a lot easier cutting. I just got to make sure the temperature's down a bit, because it's a nuisance. But right down here on the bottom, it's mostly, there's a lot of ash and basswood. A little higher up, I can get at oaks from up above. But even there, if I see an oak I want, I'll take it out now. But it's mostly basswood, and I want some of them. Because eventually on that project I'm working on, I'm going to want boards for roof boards, and basswood would cut nice boards. Like there's one right over there. That's excellent for that. And like I said, it'll free up the light for these little trees. It's funny, I've cut a lot of trees out of here over the years, but first year after you cut them, then the stump will send up shoots, and then deer eat the shoots off. And then it doesn't take long, that'll kill the stump. Then the stump just rots away. Because it's very seldom I actually run into tree stumps. I see there is a stump up there that's from maybe like 5 years ago. I cut down an ash. But, trees, like I say, they've got a definite life to them. They're a crop. You just don't normally think of them that way, because they're a slow growing crop, but they're a definite crop. I don't like to see when people do like a clear cut kind of thing. That kind of messes it up, because I've seen people do that even up here. The one winter they logged out a swamp down here, but it come back, and the good thing is if you do this in winter, it doesn't tear up the ground so much, and the trees are dormant, so it doesn't hurt those, the little ones so much, and things come back. But I like to just take what I need when I need it. Oh yeah, I'm pretty sure that tree I think I took down. I think one of my first dog sleds was made out of that because it had a curve to the trunk. So rather than steam bend the runners, I had a natural curve. The grain of the wood was curved. But I think basswood is basically what I'm going to get out of here now. And it grows down in this swampy area. So that's what I'll be taking. But I'll do some video on when I get into the logging more. But I think I'm going to start tomorrow. But I wanted to look it over and see what kind of trail I'm dealing with. Then I had the call from Ma. I hadn't done a video for about a week, and then I get the call from Ma. How come? No videos. But part of it is, sometimes I'm doing stuff all the time, but sometimes I just don't feel like making a video, or like people always refer to it as sharing it. Thanks for sharing. Well, sometimes I don't feel like sharing. Sometimes I just sort of keep things to myself. But Ma wants me to share, so don't forget to share. There's a lot of basswood, and I've contemplated before. Basswood. There aren't a lot of them that are real. Like that. That's an ash there, but like that's a basswood there. But there's a lot of really big basswoods, and they kind of grow in clumps. Like back there, there's like 3 of them in a clump. There's 6 of them in a clump there. And those are pretty straight, and you're looking at about 18 inches. It'd be a nice for wall logs because there's more insulation value to basswood than what there is to oak. But I got a lot more oak than I do basswood, so I'm going to continue building with oak. But I want the basswood for boards. But sometime, it would be nice. It would be nice to make even a small cabin out of basswood. Easy to work with, and it's a real stable wood. It doesn't warp a lot. So maybe in the process of taking some of these out, I'll save the bottom parts for lumber and set aside some of these tops that I can maybe do something out of basswood with them. They make a lot of furniture, stuff that they put a veneer on. They'll make the base of the furniture out of basswood because it's, like I say, it's easy to work. But it is a soft wood, almost like cottonwood, but it's stable. Cottonwood tends to shrink and rots pretty easy. Basswood is not a bad wood, but I like ash, but there isn't. So it's hard to find. Like, you could look around. I could look around and find enough ash logs to make a cabin out of those, but I've got just so many more oak. I've got better uses for the ash. So hopefully I can get this one out of here. I'll have to get it out of here to be able to get further back. And I'm hoping that maybe only the bottom 4 feet is bad, and then I've got a hell of a big chunk here that I can make use of. A lot of firewood if nothing else, but I'm hoping this I can cut into logs for something else. There, and I've shared.